Hello, Lori Michelle with a new series of videos called Moshiachs Life Lessons. And today we're going to start with lesson number 1, the most important lesson to start this series, raising a thinking child. I mentioned this in a previous video that I had seen a book years ago when I had small children called Raising a Thinking Child. And the premise was to teach your child how to think and troubleshoot, because you can't always be with your children and they need to be able to make decisions. But this video is about you can't raise a thinking child if you don't know how to think yourself. So you, whoever you are, needs to examine how you think and learn or relearn how to think. And you may not think that you need to do that, but God willing, and He is willing, He just said, you will examine these videos. You'll go online if you haven't already. You'll buy this book and learn that there's a lot more going on between your ears and around you than you ever knew. There are people, learned people, reading the Bible, reading the Torah, studying Kabbalah, learning about the mysteries of the soul and what's involved in our thinking process and our choices. And most of the world, almost entirely, the entire world has no idea that this is even a factor or going on. But it's deeper than that, because even the rabbis who study what I'm giving in little snippets, little pieces of information, don't understand what I'm telling you, what I'm teaching you here. And that's my job. I am Moshiach. You don't have to believe that. Just call me Lori, call me Mom, whatever you want. Just call me and listen to these lessons and grab the information you need, because I'm doing this for you, for my children, for all the children, and your children, if you have any, or you as a child. We all need to learn that thinking, critical thinking, is required of us in every single moment of our existence. Whether you realize that or not, you are being tested. Every single thought, every single action, everything you do is a test. And it's designed that way, and you can and you must pass that test. And that's why I'm here, to help you pass that test. And when you learn how to critically think in every single moment and understand what's going on around you and inside of you, and learn to think better in every moment, make better choices, you need to pass this information on to another child, your children, someone else's child. We must come together and learn that thinking in every single moment is required. So raising a thinking child, it's common sense, Lori Michelle. No, it's not. No, it's not. There are certain things that are innate in us that when we're born is automatic, like pooping in your diaper, sucking is an automatic, natural reaction. When you're born, you must suck because that's how you get in nourishment. But most everything else is learned, modeled. We model our parents. And if our parents did not learn this critical information about how to think in every moment, our children are doomed. And all you have to do right now is look around the world and look at people and how they are not thinking. They're not thinking. They're making choices, and they want and desire something, but they're not looking at the outcome of their choices. So I'm going to keep this very short and simple. My recent post about KISS, keep it simple, keeping it simple, students, an acronym I prefer, I need to keep this small and succinct, and I'm going to have many, many lessons, and that's going to delight many of you who have read my book and really enjoy my teachings. And I'm doing this for you and, God willing, many more of you. I'm going to give you an example of critical thinking that I taught one of my children one evening that is largely missing from our world. And how so? Lots of people suffer from anxiety disorder and depression because they don't know how to troubleshoot and think one small thought at a time. They look at a bundle of problems, let's say marriage, and it's all confusing, and so many things are wrong and broken with that marriage. They just see the ball of confusion. They don't know how to peel it apart one simple thought at a time, because we can only decide one thing at a time. We can have many thoughts thrown at us, but we can only choose one thing at a time. So one evening, my son, when he was, I think, in the 6th or 7th grade, came home with a lot of homework, and it was absurd. I thought at the time that teachers were just justifying their salaries by giving the children far too much homework. And he came home with homework in every subject, and he was crying. He came to me, he was about, I don't know, 11 years old, something like that, 11 or 12 years old, crying, saying, "Mommy, I can't do it. It's too much. I'm going to fail." And he was crying. So I went in his room, and I saw papers and chaos all over his room. All his homework was everywhere. He didn't know where to begin. And I smiled, and I sat down calmly with him, and I said to him, "You can do this." "No, I can't. It's too much." Does that sound familiar? Maybe it sounds like you. So I said, "Sweetheart, go get a legal pad." We had lots of them in the house, yellow legal pads. "And we're going to make a list of all your homework." So we did. And there were maybe 7 subjects and homework in every subject. And I said, next to every piece of homework or every subject, you're going to write down how long you think it will take to tackle that piece of homework. And so he did. He organized his homework, one thought, one subject at a time. And then I said to him, "Okay, so these 2 subjects, you wrote down a half hour each." By the way, 7 subjects, he had 8 hours worth of homework in one day, 11, 12 years old. Ridiculous, right? Some of it was an overestimation. So I said, write down all your subjects, how long it will take to accomplish each one of the subjects' homework. And then we looked at the list, and we looked at 2 subjects that had a half hour. I said, you're going to tackle the easy stuff first. And when you tackle that subject, I want you to cross it off with a big marker. It's off your list. And I said, in an hour, I'm going to come back and see how you're doing. In an hour, I came back, and he had crossed off 3 things off the list. Big cross marker crossing off what was on the list. And he was starting to feel better. I said, now you're feeling better. And now you're going to tackle the next thing and the next thing, and you're going to get through this. So what did that do? Making one little choice, one little decision at a time, conquering the monster a little bit at a time, gave him confidence. And now he was thinking more linearly. I can do this. I can peel it apart. I can make one decision at a time. I can tackle one subject matter at a time. And there were things that he couldn't do. So I said, the things that you can't do, you're going to put in a list for your teacher. That's her job to teach you. And you're going to say, I attempted to do this homework, but I couldn't do it. I need your help. And you won't get in trouble. And he didn't get in trouble. And we got through that evening, and he was smiling by the time he went to bed. And I can tell you, he never had that conversation with me again. He always did his homework. He never got overwhelmed. He learned how to think through his work and prioritize and do one thing at a time. To this day, he's in graduate school and he has one graduate degree and other degrees, and he's brilliant. But that was one area of his life that was overwhelming, and there were others. There were other times my children came to me with a monstrous problem with many tentacles, and we would sit and we would peel it apart, one thought, one choice at a time. Keep it simple, students. So in order to raise a thinking child, you need to be a thinking person. And in order to clean up this mess around this world, we all need how to think better in every moment and not resort to knee-jerk reactions and acting out of anger. We need to learn to choose one thought at a time. Liat, liat, they say in Israel, slowly, slowly chisel away at the problem and come to resolution. This is one little lesson. This is the first of, really? He said millions. It's endless. I don't know how we're going to get there from here. I'm pretty old. I think I'll die before I get to millions. He said, oh, no, you won't. This is the work of world peace, tackling our problems one decision at a time. And you need to learn more because there's more going on between your ears than you realize. And I spell it out in this book, and I make it very easy. I keep it simple for my students. God bless you. I hope you enjoyed lesson number 1. Raising a thinking child requires you, whoever you are, to be a thinker yourself. Peace on earth begins with you. God bless you.